I would say this is a great opportunity to practice your pipe. Okay, so let's use a bag to do this time. I want to kind of fill up my piping bag. And we're just going to pipe it on. The nice thing about using a piping tip is that the piping tip is of a certain width, a certain size, and it's going to create a very even layer of icing. It's one of the things I really like about it. With that, I'll just start here in the center, and I'll spin. Just squeeze nice and steady. Nice, huh? Nice and easy. And if you miss a spot, that's okay. Just sort of, loop some in there. Your sides already have plenty of icing sticking out the sides, but I'm going to throw a little bit more on the outside. I'm trying to make sure I keep some icing in my bowl because I need that for my final coat. So I don't want to use it all up. This is all brand new icing in here, so I want to make sure it's going to have enough for that final coat. Air bubbles. And all I'm doing is kind of just filling in here because I'm going to make my first coat. My first coat is called the crumb coat, and the idea of the crumb coat is simply to lock down the crumbs and keep them from getting everywhere. So this is where we can use crummy icing for the crumb coat, but we want to make sure that the crumb coat is the place where the crumbs stay. We don't want to get crumbs anywhere else after that. So after I make my crumb coat and it's done, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the whole place here and make sure there's no crumbs anywhere to get stray crumbs to get into my final coat. To get my crumb coat finished, then I'm going to scrape down the cake with my tool. And all I'm doing here is spinning, and I'm gently bringing the tool to the cake. So what I do is I lay the tool down on the low angle, and I'm going to scrape down the cake just gently kind of pressing against the cake and bringing that icing down so it's a very thin layer.
Are you against the cardboard or just the cake?
I'm actually against the cake this time. Yeah. Now, when I do my final coat, I'll be way out here against the cardboard. But initially for crumb coat, I'm just looking to get it coated. Nice even coat of icing. And you'll notice the speed I'm going. I'm really kind of cruising here. But if you keep the speed going, you're going to find you get a smoother icing on the outside, and you're going to find you see air bubbles much less. You'll also notice I have some icing sitting on my tool. I use that icing. As I'm going, if I have my tool up against the cake and I have a little hole that needs to be filled, I just kind of lean my cake or my scraper here down a little bit closer to the cake, using up some of that icing, and it fills in the holes as well. So it has two functions. It keeps the crumbs against the cake, glues them down, and it helps to fill up extra holes. From there, we are going to smooth off the top. Now the top usually will have a little ridge going all the way around here from the cake, from the icing that I've pushed up with the scraping along the sides. And all I'm going to do with that icing is bring it across the top. I'm not really pressing down with my tool here. I'm just laying it almost flat, and I'm just drawing that icing across the top to make it flat and smooth. I don't want to press down because if I do, the icing is going to flare out the side or it's going to ooze out the side from the layers. So we don't want pressure here. We just want to have the tool gently smooth the icing off. Now, it's not perfect yet, but you notice in between each stroke, what I do is I scrape it off. I get it scraped off in my container, and I turn my cake a little bit so that all these strokes are overlapping, and they all contribute to making this nice flat top. Now, I've got a couple problem areas here. Got a hole here, got a hole there, got a hole here. Not a huge problem at this point. I'll put a glob of icing there to fill in that hole. Put a glob of icing there. That way that will be taken care of. And we're going to go back around to the side again. Just very quickly give it a gentle scrape around the side, just to kind of fill those holes in. And again, we're going to go back to the top. Taking those areas that are high areas, and I'm not going all the way across my cake. All I'm doing is going about from the edge to about the center and then pulling away. You'll notice the cake is getting noticeably smoother and flatter as I go. And I work fairly quickly but carefully and efficiently at the same time. There are times when I used to have to get ready for Sunday brunch on Saturday night, and I'd be making like 25 to 40 of these, very quickly. Sometimes they're filled with whipped cream, sometimes they're filled with buttercream, but whatever we were using, I'd be making a bunch of them. I see one more little hole, as you can see over here, a little hole spot right there where it's showing cake through. I'll put a little glob there. Go ahead and get that taken care of before we call it done. And I'll take that little extra glob and just gently bring it across the top, smoothing it off. So there we are, nice clean crumb coat. Get rid of some of this excess. Just kind of cleaning things up, making sure any crumbs are gone. And that's your crumb coat. That's ready to go now. It's ready to be used ready to go to your final coat. And I would recommend for those getting ready for your final coat that at this point the cake is very soft and very, very delicate. All it takes is touching it with your fingers and you'll create a huge dent in it. So if you want to make sure your cake is really durable and much easier to work with, while you're getting your mise en place ready and getting your station cleaned up, throw this in the freezer or the fridge just to firm up a little bit. The exterior, the butter on the outside, will get nice and firm, and it'll be a lot less apt to get damaged. Just a good, practice. I'm not going to bother with that because you guys are sitting here waiting for me to ice this cake, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. But if you want to make sure that you have, good, durable cake and a little bit more success, I think you'll find that it'll be a little easier for you if you just firm up that cake in the fridge. So, as you can see here, cleaning up a little bit, getting rid of these crumbs, making sure everything is ready to go. I don't want to have crumbs in the exterior, so I just kind of, a little bit of preventative maintenance here. I also double check my tools. These tools have icing on them, icing that could contain crumbs. So I'm going to get rid of that icing, make sure that my tools are clean and ready to go. I don't have any possibility of contamination in my exterior coat. If I do have to scrape it off, I scrape it off in the crummy icing because I want to keep that separate. And I think my station's right about ready to go. Let's kind of wipe up here a little bit more. Make sure it's all nice and clean. Alright, so we're ready to go with